perfectly located, like halfway between the stage and the entrance. And it's also close to the area where everyone is always discussing. Perfectly located, like halfway between the stage and the entrance. And it's also close to the area where everyone is always discussing. Perfectly located, like halfway between the stage and the entrance. And it's also close to the area where... Whoa, I hear myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. That was a bit of we had a bit of an audio glitch on the live. We're now live streaming, and apologies for that quick bit of delay. Sorry, we were talking about Sheldon's Couch, the virtual edition, and other things. But should we get this party started?
Let's give a couple of minutes in case someone else wants to join, and then we can start.
Definitely. In the meantime, please, everybody go on Twitter and on the hashtag and retweet our invitation to join the live stream. Let's just take the next couple of minutes to go and get as many people in here as possible.
Ooh.
So we're just going to take what? We're just going to wait, say 2 more minutes?
Yes.
All right.
Until 5 past, yeah. All right, I think we are getting a crowd here, so I would suggest that we start quickly and let the others join in the meantime. The beginning is more welcoming, so until we start with the results and the projects, there is still some time to join the space. I will go to the stage and share my screen, and I would like Oleg to come with me so that the stage is less lonely. It would be really great if you would be there. And probably I should stop following you. Great. So welcome everyone to Saturday, to the last day of our Geo.Hackmin week and to the International Open Data Day. This three things already make this an eventful weekend, I would say. So let's not waste time and let's jump into the middle of our event. We will start with a short welcome note, mostly with an outlook to the International Open Data Day, that we have been following what's happening around the world. Oleg will give us an update on this. I'm very excited to hear that, since I spent most of the day hacking maps. Afterwards, I will give you a short presentation about cividi, because during the week you have been asking quite some questions, and we thought that it would be nice if we share a bit of our context with you as the organizers and hosts. And after that, I will welcome David on the stage, who will give an update on the swisstopo side and will tell us what happened at swisstopo this week. How were the reactions? How were the kind of results? How did they perceive the opening of their data during the first 5-6 days? And around past, we will start looking into the projects and results. We have quite some projects already on DripDat. We will need to look for more if there are any left at GitHub. So there we will ask each project to present themselves, quickly walk us through what they have been working on, who was the team that worked on it, and then every project will have a chance to answer questions from the audience. After that's done, we are wrapping up pretty much with a future outlook on this event, on potential future events, and we will welcome you to a virtual apéro distributed across this space in the different rooms or in the main area, wherever you wish. As you see, the space is ready to celebrate. Thanks, Oleg, a lot for the decorations for today. It definitely looks like a happy space now. So let's use it and make the most out of it. And with that, I would give the word to Oleg and hear more about the international happenings.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, great. So, yeah, hey everybody, and let's have a look to see what's happening around the world. As you know, it is very much the occasion here. I don't know if you can see my whiteboard. I guess you can't. Let me just switch tabs here and share with you what's happening on social media. So this the event today that has brought us together, that has precipitated our week-long hackathon, is the International Open Data Day. It's been celebrated for over 10 years, an event launched by the Open Knowledge Network. There are over 280 events in 74 countries on this giant calendar, which we can see here. Everything from the hackathon like we've been organizing. There are several people doing meetups and mapping parties and looking at data governance, talking about open data in seminars and workshops, having awareness campaigns, having data expeditions, having online photo mapping parties of attractive places in the Chiba prefecture, and so on and so forth. So we are not alone there. There are definitely other civic data hackathons like ours, from South Africa to Japan. And if we're lucky, we might have 1 or 2 people joining us over the next couple of hours who we've invited from the international community. The Swiss chapter of Open Data, that's the Open Data CH Association, has a presence in the network. So if you go to our English-speaking blog, you will see some updates from the conferences and just major topics that we run. So these are links and translations of posts from the main website. If anybody has an interest in helping to do more of this kind of outreach and connection to the global community, please by all means reach out to me. I've been kind of very much in I mean, I'm personally Canadian with Russian background, so and I spent a long time in England, and that's where for me personally the interest is quite high. But it's definitely not something this chance to connect with people and participate in regular calls with Open Knowledge Foundation's international headquarters, as well as this global community, is a real wonderful opportunity to look at what is happening around the world in the fight for more transparent, more accountable, and more participatory data projects. For us at cividi, Open Knowledge has focused on the topic of frictionless data. There was a big call 2 years ago in the Open Knowledge Foundation to say, let's really put the focus on data quality and making open data successfully interoperable, embedded in the national and international framework. And the Frictionless Data Initiative is something we've been working very hard to support as a company. We've been building our application tools on these libraries, which are available in multiple programming languages, and frameworks which are based on a specific set of standards, which are developed very much in the spirit of what makes the web work. So they're based on and compatible with the web standards like HTML, CSS, and so on. So I don't want to take up too much time with the sales pitch. Just to say, there are a lot of things like that out there in the Open Knowledge Network. So standards initiatives, tools to reuse, exciting projects to participate in, which are kind of have a cross-border nature. And Open Data Day is definitely a big one of them. So we have celebrated Open Data Day in various ways over the years. Sometimes we had a hackathon around the same time, so we took the opportunity to connect with folks around the world. Sometimes we met up physically. That was in the good old pre-corona days. And this time it's virtual. So how do you participate in this? Well, this website with its almost 300 events has all the links. So like in the case of our events, you will find the Twitter link, the website. There will be a lot of blogs and reports after the fact, of course, so you can catch up. Right now, social media is just full of tweets and posts and pictures from around the world. So maybe just to give you really much a visual impression of this, I'll just scroll through this a bit and see how folks are looking for free GIS data, for example. This is us. Here we have someone from the Philippines, and we have from Nigeria, an Open Data Day, and here we have New York City. They have also, like us, they have a whole week of activities, Open Data Week. So very, very cool. I strongly recommend you to connect and check this out. Now let's go back to Switzerland.
Thank you, Oleg. That was great. Did you want to add something to Switzerland, or you meant Switzerland is us?
Switzerland is definitely ours. And I'd like to ask maybe Dave to come up to the stage and tell us a little bit more about what made you do this? Why did you decide to support Open Data Day and do this event with us? You need to come up on stage so we can hear you.
Where is the stage? Okay. Is everybody hearing me? Quick thumbs up. Yes. Okay. How did this start? It was back in December when Swiss Parliament decided that, yeah, finally after 20 years, let's go for open data. And the internal com team came up and dropped a mail and saying, which was saying, we're going OGD on the 1st of March. So I quick checked the calendar and had two major issues. The week before Open Data, I'm on holidays. Okay, on the 1st of March. That means the holidays will be a little bit shitty because you have to work. And the second big thing was, hey, 6th of March, there is the International Open Data Day. And dear com team of swisstopo, did you know that? They didn't know. So I proposed that we get in touch with you guys, Oleg, opendata.ch, and well, that's where all the Geo.Hackmin then finally started. And it was, to be honest, it was not a. They told me at swisstopo, Dave, if you want to push this, then do it. It's okay for us. And I really appreciate that they really supported me in the giveaways we will receive later. And it had impact. What you did, guys, this week, it had impact. Because first time employees at swisstopo really saw that someone is working with the geodata from swisstopo, which before was not the case. I can quickly share you the impact we had. I have now to share the screen. Government laptops, that's another story. Yes. Now you see the screen, I assume. Okay. So what was the impact on the first day of OGD after Viola Amherd made the announcement? As you could see, we more than doubled the traffic on the swisstopo website itself. Okay, this is significant impact. We usually don't have such much growth on the swisstopo website. That's www.swisstopo.ch. The second impact we had was quite interesting to see. Quite interesting to see how the traffic sources, where did it come from. So there was a lot of direct links to swisstopo. Usually we were around 1,000 links which were made on the swisstopo website, but on the 1st of March there were several referrals, over 20,000 referrals on the swisstopo website, different sources which they came from. As far as I know, this didn't happen before. Okay, from this point of view, very successful from a communication part. But what interests me as a wannabe tech geek is the impact on our federal spatial data infrastructure in the backend. So what you see here is on the top graph, the average number of requests hourly, the last fortnight. And you see here at the very end the number of requests we had on the 1st of March. So you could actually see that we quite went from 10, 15-ish million requests to 36, 30 million requests. We doubled the number of requests. And we didn't have any impact on our infrastructure, which I'm really, really glad. And this is for me actually the biggest success, because once you fail infrastructure-wise, you're actually you're dead. You get bad press. So at the peak hours, we get over 9,400 requests per second on our infrastructure. That means someone who queries a latitude, longitude, or an address, or retrieves a vector tile data set, or retrieves a WMS image, and so on. So if you now look at the data transfer, I don't know what the blue graphs are, the blue line are, because I didn't do the graph. But you can also see that we had an outgoing traffic about 200 gigabyte per hour, and then we went up to 600 gigabyte on the first day, and this means as well no impact on our infrastructure. So on the first, if you sum it up, on the first day, on the 1st of March, we had 500 million requests, which was doubled, which on average we had 250, and we transferred 33 terabytes of data, raw data, total data, out of our infrastructure, which is factor 15, because usually on a normal day we have 2 terabytes. Now, from an open data perspective, open data, a service is also data, but it's real open if you can not only download the service, but you can also download the raw data. You see that's the number of bytes downloaded from Geo.Hackmin.ch, and what you see here is this was before, and then this was the big announcement on the 1st, and you can clearly see that mankind is, I don't know how you call it in English, but in German you say Jäger und Sammler. As soon as it's open, you download it. And I remember in discussion last week with Oleg was thinking about, come on, let's download all the data. So, okay, I told him, good luck. It's more than a petabyte of data. You better run off to your next media market store to get some hard drives. Yeah, that's what we disseminated on the data, and I think one key success factor here is that we spent very, very much effort and time and brain cells on the architecture, choosing Amazon S3, choosing a content delivery network like CloudFront to handle the traffic. Yeah, that's a short overview. Media-wise, I wanted to have for today an overview on the media, the media coverage of swisstopo. Internal comms team has not yet released an official version of what I can say, but as far as I can say, and this is my personal opinion, quote off, it has been very, very positive. And even if there were some comments in different online media which were saying, yeah, you're giving away now the precious swisstopo data, which we paid for, there were other citizens clearly counter-agreeing and saying, well, we paid for it, so that's public money, public data. And it's really a really successful story for the Swiss geographic information community, or the geo community. And I think that's kind of a milestone right now this week, because geodata are not anymore purely focused on maps. It's now the next step going on. We can integrate this geoinformation also in other data sets, in other information systems. That's it. Guys, any other question?
Well, I couldn't get to any media marked. They seem, but it's, hard drive space and bandwidth are something that we do tend to take for granted. I think that there's maybe, like, on this Open Data Day, a little bit of a story here of you know, as other countries look towards what Switzerland is doing, and there was interest from the international community. I think we were featured on one of those big international aggregators for geodata earlier in the week, and you know, if you know the kind of infrastructure, this kind of world-class infrastructure, and this an incredible amount of detail and high quality that the Swiss government is able to put into creating the data. And it's not just the Swiss government, right? I mean, it comes from a lot of different sources. It's representative of a very advanced information society. And today we can celebrate this milestone and maybe think about, you know, what would it take to share some of this? How could we transfer some of this knowledge? What parts of the experience of the last 10 years of advocating for free and open geodata deserve to be talked about and blogged about and debated. And I think that's where everyone here has come in with their ideas and their motivation, their interest to be part of this and to hang out until sometimes late into the evening. As it was getting darker and darker in our windows, we were still geeking out with excitement about all these, not just the resources, but just this joint happening that's bringing us together, ripping us out of our, you know, normal daily routines and giving us something bigger to be part of. So I appreciate extremely how simple it was, how easy to work with you over the years as a member of the community, and in particular over the last 2 weeks or something that we've organized this event and participated on it as well, all together. So a huge thanks to your entire team.
I have to quickly add 2 things. Obviously, as Raphael mentioned, you didn't see my slides. Pity. I will try to upload those 5 slides to some space. And the second thing is as you say, Oleg, it's geodata. Open geodata is one thing, but the second thing is which really brings the potential of geodata to life is to share the knowledge how to access geodata. And this is why swisstopo is really keen on not only sharing open data, but since 2008 we are really committed as well to open source software. So the whole infrastructure, the whole setup, the whole architecture on AWS is openly documented and it's open source. So most of you have found on our GitHub account actually the complete description of our services on how to bring geodata to life.
Thank you. I was seeing your slides, and I definitely made sure that they're part of the live stream. If you have questions, by the way, folks, please use the chat, and we will pick them up as we run through the presentations. That'll just keep it more efficient. And then once we get through all the projects, then we'll get off the stage and have a good old-fashioned fireplace chat. And party onwards. Anyway, I'll pass the ball back to Viktoria to do the ceremony mastering.
Thank you for both of you, Oleg and David, for the overview on this week's and today's happenings. I think it's always a great feeling to belong to something that makes a difference. So thanks for confirming that and also letting us all know, if it was not clear before, why we were working this week together. This has been very inspiring for all of us, I believe. So I will also tell you our story, why we started this event and why we are doing all the work around open data ourselves. So as I mentioned, and as you know, we are a cividi, a civic tech startup in Switzerland with quite many numbers by now, operating for over 2 years. This is our team. We have a very diverse set of age and disciplines in our team. So we work together with physicists and biologists who are all also business people and architects, and data scientists and IT masters, who what is common in all of us is that we are all committed to the cause of making our built environment and the way we use cities and our place of living better. And for that, we are developing digital tools to understand society better, how others, with all of us, are using these spaces. We do that through data solutions. So you have seen this cookie before. I just call it cookie normally, where the bottom of the cookie is always built upon open data. And as long as we have an good enough overview based on open data, we don't go much further. There are, however, certain sources of other data that is proprietary or collected in a different way through crowdsourcing, for example, which are offering very valuable insights into specific topics, for example, mobility. And in these cases, we build our analysis by layering this different type of data upon the open principle. What we are doing actually is that we are moving and positioning ourselves in the urban planning space and strive towards a more data-driven approach in urban planning. As you see, we are mostly working on the informal side with advising cities and municipalities on how to develop better strategies and scenarios for the future of city planning. This means a lot of advocacy around tools, data, and software, and an overarching overview on how to understand the city. So we are not so much the ones publishing the tools, working together with the GIS portals of the certain cities and cantons, but more on the overarching understanding and advising side of things. And why we are doing that is, I think, very simple. There are certain things that we can change around us, and there are certain things that we can build upon. And we are trying to influence the ones that is built upon so that investments are better spent and the future is better equipped for the growing urban landscape. If we take a look at how our world is built, then we all of us know that we have a very interesting landscape, which is especially very characteristic in Switzerland with the many mountains and valleys and rivers. This is something that we can't change and we don't want to change. So societies were evolving around these landscapes, making the most out of it and trying to coexist and co-develop, so to say. However, with the needs of growing connectedness, we started building tunnels and roads so that we can interact with this landscape. And that's how we have better reachability. That's how we can transit different goods. And that's how we basically made civilization work. If we look into a shorter term of time or shorter time period, then we know that we also interact with building our houses and walls and formulating the street landscape, so to say, for our use, for the human-made location use, where on the administrative side we have a lot of strategies and zoning plans, and on the very individual side we have the individual houses on how we would like to live. And this is where it starts to get interesting as we tap into the more recent and the more current timeframes about functional occupation. How does the society live? Where does the society live? Who lives together with whom? What do they do? What do they want to reach? Where are the nearest areas they are walking around? What are they targeting? And how do they do that on a very current level? So we can have an idea of how we all live and where we all live and where we work and what we do on a statistical level. But today, with the availability of different tools, we can also have an overview on how every one of us moves right now. So our idea was to make use of this data, advocate for making it more open, advocate for making city planning more participative, also possibly a way for citizens to share this data and build analysis and solutions on top of this. And to add an even further thought to this is it's not just mattering how we do things, but also how we perceive things. So this is an example of a partner project where Oleg can tell us later in the Q&A much more about on place perception. This is an analysis and visualization based on crowdsourced data, where people were presented pictures, 2 pictures as a comparison, to define what they perceive as safer. And if we come back to this thought, then as I said, we can influence certain of the most current and most recent factors. So how we use things, how we build functionality, and how we create structures. This we are doing in Switzerland by targeting municipalities, working together with municipalities, help them put emphasis on the planning scenarios they need to be looking at, and do that on different levels, through different layers, so that they understand the use of their space and they understand how they can influence that space. As you may have perceived, we are working a lot with maps, with different visualizations to make it easier to perceive data and to make it easier to perceive information and interaction. I think here I don't need to say much more. Peter has had a very great overview yesterday on what maps can make us understand. And that's what we also have in our core and in the top of our heads. How we do all this is through repeatable analysis. So that's what our great team is working on, to make our analysis and pipelines understandable, clean, and repeatable, to be able to aggregate, analyze, and visualize data. We also strive towards building a platform, which is currently under construction, where we can fuel in all these data-based analysis and share that across planners, citizens, and the administrative bodies, so they have a way to collaborate together without having to have the technical knowledge of editing GIS, geoinformation system-based tools, and just an easy way to comment on the visualized data. This is how our tool looks with the commenting function, with having a way to take an analysis and say yes or no, good or bad, save it in the tool, and work with the data that you add on top of the prepared analysis. We also have been testing solutions on how to integrate citizen feedback, which is a very actual topic all around the world. There are startups in other cities working a lot with citizen feedback. So we also tried this and tried different ways how to integrate this data. So this is, for example, a questionnaire that we visualized in a smaller municipality in Switzerland, where the answers are correlating to the different dots. We work a lot together with partners, and without our partners, all of our analysis would not be possible. So this is also coming together very much to today's event, I believe. To have an anecdote as my personal story, I always like to share is that I joined cividi to work on something great and to work on something that matters. And I think this week has shown a lot that this dream of mine is coming together here with all of you working towards similar goals, building a community, and enjoying sharing guidance and solutions and the joy around building with data. I'm also very thankful to all of you for welcoming our team, so to say, and joining us for this event. This was also an experiment, I think, on all of our side, also on our team, where I personally had a more technical way to work with the others, which I don't often do. So for me, this was also a very personally very eye-opening event. And I would go back actually to continuing, give the word back to you. You meaning the projects, that we can quickly jump into reviewing them. Let me change the screen. Actually, it's better if I just quickly show you the Tripdot page to see what kind of projects we have been working on and what things we have been building. So as you see, we have here 10 different projects, which, do you see my screen?
No. We still see the slides, yeah.
Yeah, I see that, or I thought that. Sorry for that.
No worries.
All right, so we have 12 different projects. So our little hexagons have come a long way to be together. We have projects around mountains, solar potentials, on weather, on tools, on people commuting, on greening spaces. So I can say this is a great variety of different topics that we managed to compile this week. So how we would proceed now is, I would say we welcome each project on the stage one by one. I will announce who is the next ones all the time, and then you can present your solutions and ideas and thoughts, challenges throughout the week, and afterwards the audience, or during that, the audience can gather the questions that can be answered right up on your ending your presentation. The first project we would like to share is the MapRadar project. This is coming from our team, so I will keep talking. And as a preparation, the next project afterwards will be the commuter flows project. And with that, I would like to have Sven from our team on the stage, so he can show what we have been working on in terms of maps.
Yeah, hello, my name is Sven. I'm working for cividi, and like a project, we said, okay, let's do something fun. Let me share my presentation. Okay, I hope you can see it. Bigger, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you to swisstopo. Because of the data now, we can do a lot of cool things. And one thing is to have the data, but it's also important to show it, to have a good visualization. And especially if we have this vector data, we have a lot of choices and can do a lot of stuff with it. And I don't know how directly we came to this idea, but of course, like a hacker, you like the dark mode, the dark theme, and therefore we started to say, okay, let's think about the themes we have, the visualization of the data, and let's make some let's make a project out of it. On this, we worked like Torben, Viktoria, Louis, and me. And Then, so on the right side, you can see the default swisstopo visualization. And at the moment, you have only one theme, which is, I think, beautiful, but only beautiful in special occasions. And we need to, and everybody has another purpose. And then we have seen that's really easy to hack this visualization because it's everything based in a nice JSON file, and the vector data you can color like you would like to do it. This could be or should be done like a community project that everybody can see it, can hack it, can change it, and can participate in it. And of course, CVD is more interested in putting geodata on top on the map. And therefore, I can show you the first try. So here you can see, in this case, the Arbeitsdiversität. So what one of the maps CVD is developed is showing how different type of work environments are changed, and therefore we have a really colorful map in 100-meter grids. And this is the first try of having the light map Vader color scheme, and I think it's we of course have still some issues and things we can do better. For example, the names of the cities are still crashing the geodata, but it's for the beginning a really good starting point. Also the Gebäude, so the Schwarzplan, is one of the examples where you can see that it's a good combination and the data on top is really on focus. On the background, we just put together a small leaflet example, and Viktoria can now explain how the team decided which colors and how in which tool we used to change the colors of the map.
Thank you, Sven. I think I have 1.5 minutes left, so I will start talking. So our idea, as you saw on Sven's examples, is that we are working a lot with colors and different shapes that we overlay on maps. So we would like to take advantage of this newly open data set of swisstopo. However, we need to do some styling around it. So that's why we said we will remain with a grayish theme, but we will fade the colors as much as possible. So we still have some colors, but it doesn't interfere with the analysis on top. And this was the overarching goal. We were using a very simple color matching tool where we can experiment of how different areas could look like. So for example, this was for the land cover. This is something for mining areas, and so on. And with that, we arrived to this quite beautiful example where we keep emphasizing what's already there. So the topography of a place. We de-emphasized the cantonal administrative borders because we believe that spatial solutions are overarching of these. And we kept all streets as a same color, so all public transport and non-public transport areas. Similarly, the tunnels, it's and for the train lines, we just have like one color instead of like mapping all the stations, because in our perspective, these are the factors that are important. How we were doing this was fairly easy. because I was doing it as a non-technical person, so I can verify that. We used the MapWithnik open editor, and we were just changing by clicking on the map. So it was a lot of interaction with the map that I really enjoyed. Changing zoom levels, changing colors, changing styles, and the width of a lane. However, what we would like to strive towards with having started this project is, as Sven said, to make the style editing community-based. So to have a browser where you can browse different styles which were edited and built upon the swisstopo Lite data map version. And also as a second step, which we did not have the time or the scope to start this week yet, is to make the editing part even more easy. So even without having to work with different interfaces, just work with one interface where you always see the map and you don't need to have a lot of downloads and commits and so on. So that's our goal why we started this project, which you find on GitHub, and we hope many of you will join to create beautiful map styles. As you have seen yesterday, MapTiler has been also working on with their default themes. So I think this is also, it would be really great if we have all the great companies who have started working on this theme edition. All those maps would just come together into one library.
All right.
Questions, or if not, the next flows in Switzerland.
Just to be able to fit everybody in, we have 10 projects to go through and 1 hour. I would suggest that we post questions into the chat during the presentation, and if it can't be answered in the chat, then we answer them in person after the presentations. And I will keep a 5-minute timer and just show it to you on my video. It'll be just from time to time.
Thanks, Oleg.
You'll see something like this.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
You've now been warmed up by Team cividi. The pacemaker here, so to speak.
Okay, so who is here from Commuter Flows? Okay, I think we don't have Team Commuter Flow here. However, I see that Ilya was working on this project, and he posted the resources and the pitch into TripDat. So I would suggest that that you take a look at this separately, and we can move on into presenting the next project, if that's fine with you. So the next project would be...
I think we should have a quick look. Just get it quickly on video. Are you seeing my screen share?
That's a good idea. Yes, we see your share. Perfect.
So here's the map of commuter flows. Ilya was one of our presenters, and he was motivated to work on this during the week. It looks like it's still a bit of a work in progress, but you can see that these are trips between the Swiss municipalities, showing how many people have gone from one location to the other. And this is based on FlowMap Blue, which is actually a personal project of his. And the data source is the Swiss Federal Office of Statistics, and the maps, which we can here zoom into as well and inspect, are swisstopo's beautiful light base map. So very cool data visualization. Just a quick look at the log, and I think all the information we need to get to it is, yeah, just explore the project web link here. So big thanks to Ilya for sharing this this project with us and for this cool hack. I would also suggest that because we're not able to clap, you know, like this, we just, what does it press? Yeah, 1, 2, 3 on our keyboard to do a quick emoji.
Or just press Z and dance.
Oh, or just press Z and dance, yeah, if you're in the mood. Alrighty, so now we can go to the next project. Thanks, Viktoria.
Sure. So next project is variations on the new swisstopo. And Luis is approaching the stage.
Yes, and to let you know, there was a little bit of a last-minute name change to make things a little bit more clear and direct for just for kind of understanding the project title. And I think it's actually a perfect transition to kind of go from what cividi was talking about to do a full demo of the customized tool that we've been working on, because it's obviously related. And I think there's a lot of great synergies to be had between them. So I think I just present here with the whiteboard, or shall I just share my screen?
You can share on the bottom of the page. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just start speaking here. Really, what I wanted to do with this pitch is just go into a full demo of the tool. But I think it's a really great flow actually for the presentation so far, because cividi had talked about doing some custom styling, and then the next presentation that we had discussed was really about showing data on top of that light base map. And I think that was exactly kind of one of the things that swisstopo wanted to do with the light base map, was have a kind of very basic, visually unobtrusive map, which could be used to show content on top of. But of course, you know, people use maps for so many different things that I think it's actually very, very positive and useful to have a wide variety of styles. So the team at MapTiler, notably our really amazing cartographer, Nicolas Bozon, and some of the other team members were working this week on coming up with 4 kind of basic map styles, which you see flashing here in our demo, to kind of get started on having a wider variety of maps based on the swisstopo data, which is obviously so detailed and so great, and have maps that can be used for different kinds of purposes. We had a couple other ideas, which I'll bring up at the end of the pitch to take this work further. But of course, you know, this week was very busy, and sometimes there's not enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do. But to get right into it, I wanted to pop over here to the customized tool, which I believe Peter might have shown already a bit yesterday, and discuss a little bit kind of the benefits of the tool that we've created, and the things that you can do with it, as well as the kind of further direction of where it will be developed to. So what you're seeing here on the left-hand side of the screen is the kind of 4 preset styles that we've been working on. It starts with the kind of basic LBM, as well as going into the other styles that you're seeing here. So what we really wanted to do with this demo is show the huge variety of different themes and styles that you can show with this vector data. So not only the kind of flat style, unobtrusive style, like the gray and the vivid, but also the gray and the LBM basic, but also, you know, dark mode, which obviously can be very popular for mobile devices, as well as the vivid style. And apologize here also a little bit, the demo curse of being on the video chat and having all the tools and the tabs open here should also usually load a little bit faster than this. The style that you're seeing now was inspired a little bit by the Swiss national map style. where we wanted to kind of bring in something that maybe users would be familiar with and would feel extra comfortable kind of interacting with, and would bridge the gap a little bit between the traditional and modern map looks. And what I really wanted to feature here is just the kind of different levels of detail and interactivity that you can get as you zoom in, including the really kind of trademark black building layer, which I think cividi had also brought up, and the really great benefits of having the super detailed swisstopo data, where even any little cabin up in the mountains is there with a really kind of exact and distinct footprint.
1 minute warning, Louis, just to know. 1 minute.
Okay, yeah. And what else you can see here is obviously just the kind of ability to shift and interact with the data, which I think is really great. So for the interest of time, yeah, I'll kind of cut it short here. One thing that will be really great with the cloud-based tool is the ability to serve the maps as WMTS and raster tiles as well as vector tiles. And one of the other things we've been working on, which we haven't been able to demo here yet today, is also the ability to have the data and the styles on a self-hosted server. So we will definitely continue to develop that as well, and have a kind of zip of these custom styles available, so that people with air-gapped or pure offline requirements are also able to use a wide variety of styles with the great data. The final thing, obviously, is just the integration with a world map, and being able to show these swisstopo-inspired styles, not only in Switzerland, but really all across the world, from New York to London to Shanghai. I think there's a lot of potential there to be inspired for further kind of use cases and applications. So happy to discuss this more with questions at the end, but I think coming up on time, so we'll cut it short there. And hopefully I got to everything that I wanted to speak about. Probably not, but that's the way it is. So
that was great. Thanks very much, Liz.
Yeah, so questions we don't have, just David asked for the public link to the styles, so please share that later on, as you mentioned, Louis. And now we would jump onto the project of lane count and road type detection. Hi, Balthazar.
Yeah, hi everybody. Okay, I don't really prepare the presentation, but maybe we just okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, maybe we just I just go quickly follow the data where we took off and where we landed. So yeah, basically the first thing I started with was actually the assets, the open data. So how to get the data, and yeah, the thing was I was using the Stack API, and this is a little script I used to download the Swiss image, and yeah, it was not conform to the user agreement. Yeah, I was running parallel and probably make a huge impact, and yeah, downloading the whole data set, but it worked very well. So it's also a good sign that it worked. And yeah, this was the kind of the first step. So I had this tiled assets, and there were some problems. I tried to create a virtual data set, but it's too long of a command for GDAL or for Linux, so it's impossible to do that or make a shorter file names. But yeah, I left it then because the next is maybe the utils that I created some functions how to extract a tile. Example, if we have all the tiles, we just put in a box and then we get out the tiles. Just find it from the name, and later on I also made a function to sample the VMS. So with this function, you just give the VBox the width, height, and the format, the layer, and then you directly get from the WMS the picture that you can save or as a georeferenced image to build up a data set or to sample from the web. Yes, and so the thing is that we wanted to have a look at the roads, so we sampled the roads, and we basically we just did a lot of random points in Switzerland, and then we snapped to the different roads, and we used the TLM, the street data set, and snap to each class individually to get really the points that are on the road, so it's aligned well, and we are not losing time by not getting roads all the time if we just take a random sample. Yes, and then I extracted this data set based on these points. I just used the script to make the small images, which works quite well, and this looks like this finally. For example, so we have these patches. We have around now a data set of like 60,000 of street pictures like this. Yeah, this was the creating the data set, and then the modeling started, and by the time the data set was finished, it was already Friday, Friday afternoon, Friday night. Then was some quick modeling, and the one I did was like the very basic convolutional network of the TensorFlow example, just minor tweaks, but yeah, basically this is some convolutional layer for that's it, dense layer, and we run this, and this ended up after 15 epochs. It's ended up to have an accuracy of 0.73 or around 0.73.
That's very impressive. 1
yes.
minute. 1 minute.
Okay. Yes, and then the other model, this was the model of Chiang, and this is the dense model, and the accuracy was the same. It's a little more complex. It's not easy to get for me because it's kind of a hybrid between TensorFlow 1 and 2. And it actually runs with TensorFlow 2 now, I think. And yes, I also can upload the data, so everybody can run this or follow up on this. Maybe don't use the asset script to download all the assets, or just respect the usage policy of fair usage. Okay. Yes, that's it.
Right on time and right on the money. There was one question in the chat.
Yeah, so Rafa asked how long it took you to download the old Swiss image dataset.
Maybe half a day, I guess. or yeah, half a day to a day. I think I started Sunday evening and I run the script in parallel. So I was hitting like with 16 cores or 32 threads. I didn't know which one it took as number. So it's yeah, it was okay, I think. But yeah, sorry for the load. Hope you don't kick me out.
No, don't think so. David said they don't kick you. That's good news. That was very interesting and impressive. I hope you will keep working on the project. Should we jump into the next one? We will have the X-Detect project as next, and as preparation, the grill that project can prepare. Hi, Jacob.
Hi. One could almost think that you chose the order of presentations on purpose, because this was sort of a perfect setup for mine. Let me quickly share the screen. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a sort of a quick introduction, because I don't know, I thought it's maybe nice that you learn a bit about my background. I did a bachelor's and master's in physics, and then I switched to computational neuroscience. And I now work at the Department of Physiology at the University of Bern. And our main job is the modeling of plasticity and learning in brains, so neural tissue, which sort of puts me in the position of, before this hackathon, I was mainly a consumer, or only a consumer of geodata, and obviously of all the cool apps that are related to it. But when I saw the announcement for this hackathon, I thought it's a really cool idea to really learn something new, and also to build something that might actually work. And of course, I love the idea of open data and working with it. Just sounds really cool. So I put my handles there if you're interested to contact me. But now moving on to the project. So the goal that I set out to achieve was to detect crosswalks in Bern. This was sort of a specific goal that I had in mind. And in particular, I would like to do this with this awesome data set of aerial photographs with 10 centimeter resolution, which should be the source for the location of the crosswalks. And the way I wanted to do it is actually quite similar to the project that we've seen before. So the idea is basically to always look at small portions of the image, ask the computer whether there's a crosswalk in this part of the image, and then do this sort of for many assets, right? So you can ask the computer for a couple of bounding boxes that correspond to coordinates, and that sometimes the computer will say, yes, this is a crosswalk. And of course, this falls into the realm of supervised machine learning, which means we need lots of examples, as we also heard in the previous talk. So of course, the first step is then collect this data. And I just used a simple Python script that sort of always shows me one image, and then you can select which portions of this image contains the target class, in my case, crosswalks. And then it will zoom in, and it will zoom in, and at some point you will end up with a selection of a couple of tiles. This is now 50 by 50 pixels, and then you mark the ones that you would like to use as positive training examples. Sort of, for these examples, the machine should say, yes, it contains a crosswalk. And doing this, I generate about 1,000 positive examples, as mentioned, 50 by 50 pixels. And then you can just generate the negative examples where the computer should say, this is not a crosswalk, by just randomly selecting portions of the image and sort of checking that it doesn't accidentally actually select a crosswalk. So with these two data sets, with the positive and negative examples, I can just feed them to the computer or to a program, and then say, okay, if you see this, then yes, this is a crosswalk. Please tell me so. and simultaneously you feed the negative examples and say, no, this is not a crosswalk. And I'm not going to go into much of the details, but I used just a super small convolutional neural network in PyTorch that gives me for every of these patches a probability that it is part of a crosswalk. And just to give you a feeling, so this was about 20K parameters in the network, which makes it really small compared to any of the state-of-the-art models, which allows me to train it on my machine from scratch in about 40 minutes. And it only takes 150 lines of codes to define all of this, which is really cool. So there you can really see how far the whole framework for machine learning has come. Okay, so once I've done this, so once I've trained the network, then I can just take an image. I basically run a sliding window over the image, and then I get out these pixel positions within the image. I can combine that with the coordinates that I have for each asset. So for each of these images, we know where it was taken, and then some more data processing, which will end up then in a KML file, which I can process with other tools. For example, I can import it in the swisstopo map.
1 minute, Jacob. 1 minute.
Okay, great. I think I will make it. So right, so you can import this, but because now you have a machine that does this annotation for you, of course you can scale it up, right? So you can import more and more of these assets, and then at some point you will have covered, I hope, most of Bern. And these are now about 2,500 regions of interest. So 2,500 regions where the machine thinks this is a crosswalk. If you look at some of the examples, it actually, so sometimes it does get a bit confused. So this is now the interactive map. I hope you can see it. In general, it works really well. So if you can look at this part, for example, right? So there are these crosswalks that it has detected. But then, so for example, fields that have just been prepared are very confusing to the computer because it likes stripy, bright things. So it would think all of these are crosswalks. That's certainly something that can be improved. And one way to do this is just to train it again, or sort of include these as negative examples in your training set, which I found is really, really important. Just quickly, I would like to go over the lessons learned. I think it's important to pick a project that's realistic. A week is super short, even though I sort of knew where this is going. It still took until last minute to finish it. Often it's better to make some choice than the best choice, because at every sort of step of the way, there are a million. And then some lessons about applied machine learning. I don't need to go through all of them. But I've also learned that if you work with geodata, the coordinate transformations can be really a pain. Okay, so with that, I just want to summarize that apparently very simple supervised machine learning methods are suitable for detecting kind of the regions of interest in these area photographs. And all of this can be improved. There's the link to the GitHub. And I would like to thank everyone who contributed to making this possible. It was really a very awesome experience. And happy to take any questions.
Awesome.
Currently no questions. If any should pop up, please put it in the chat. Thank you, Jacob, for the great presentation.
Thank you for listening.
So as next, we go to some grilling. I'm afraid Catherine is not with us, so Oleg, can I ask you to pull up the project?
Sure. Or Dave, do you want to talk about it? You contributed to it as well. Otherwise, I will quickly share my tab. Are you still seeing this?
Yes.
Very good. So, GrillDat was a project. Sorry, I'm going to need 1 second because of the live stream. If I'm sharing myself, it's really bad. And Victoria, I do need you to time me if I'm speaking, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry. GrillDat is a project that was pitched to us a couple of days ago. So we had Catherine come up and share this idea with us, which we thought was pretty compelling, of a social app for map data and grilling. The idea was very much fitting to the Open Data Day kind of topic of empowering people to map their own environment, and the challenge was to look at which outdoor grilling spots exist in your vicinity and how busy they are at the moment when you plan to cook and eat. That we would start with the beautiful detailed trail maps so beloved by tourists and residents alike, and invite users to add to swisstopo's data, or on top of it, things like where is a grill spot on the trail system, is it being currently grilled at, how many people are there, and so on. There was some of the idea goes above and beyond. Also things like how would you actually encourage people to use this data, to use this application with QR codes, and some of these topics I have to say were already covered at the tourism Open Data Hackathons, which I've ran twice or maybe even 3 times now by Open Data CH. And currently this project is very much a sketch. So we, based on that idea, created this map. Maybe I can show it to you in interactive form. Always better. So this is the new test server of the Geo.Hackmin Swiss map, which we've seen a couple of times already. And here overlaid are several layers, things like the public train stops. In, I believe it is orange, are, yes, the trails. These are the official trails which are marked. And then in green you have things like the biking paths and hiking paths which are endorsed by the Tourism Association. In red are data points of grill locations which are known by the fire pit tag inside of OpenStreetMap. So this is now data that was exported and re-imported into the data catalog. Something you can quite easily do with this tool using the data import functionality, and it basically represents a starting point to see where are currently mapped locations, are they still valid, and so on. So if we zoom out, I think we see quite a lot of red dots. Here we were looking at Lucerne. Wait, I think I need to turn off some of these other maps, otherwise my computer will crash. So yeah, Switzerland loves to grill. Switzerland is on fire. All kinds of funny comments you could say about this. But anyway, so this map is really just a really quick starting point just to get the idea across. We also thought a little bit about how to develop this app. Oh, one thing I should also mention is that fireplaces are currently not at all in the official data, at least the ones that we have looked at. We didn't look at like fire brigade or cantonal level data, but at the federal level, you do have things like church towers and water sources, but you do not have fire pits as something in the official layers. You do have some Brandlichtstelle. Thank you. So yeah, there's a quick description and links to all the data that we used. And one thing that this project really quickly led us to think about was to actually think about fire danger, right? Forest fire has been a topic around the world, but in Switzerland as well. The issue of climate change does not pass this country by. And so this is kind of a direction we thought about. So there are actually several websites already that do what is described in the idea, but they do this with closed data and closed source proprietary solutions, or they don't. They're heavily moderated. They're not really oriented towards crowdsourcing. And there's some inspiring apps listed here, and definitely thoughts about how to broaden the scope of this towards also mapping the fire situation. One last thing is when we did test the super simple approach to contributing to OpenStreetMap, I would very recommend you, if you haven't already tried this app Street Complete, available for Android phones in the Google Play Store. It's a really cool application currently being actively developed, which lets you just tap on a map and add a note. And this note will then go to the OpenStreetMap community and be moderated and appropriately tagged and so on into a fire pit location. And that's Geodat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oleg.
You're welcome.
Yeah, probably on the next event we can go explore the grilling places together, or in a decentralized way. Any questions? No questions. Perfect. Then we can move on to the next project, which is base lighting QGIS. Anyone here from the team? David likes the project. Not sure what that means.
Yeah, this was, there's a couple of people that contribute to it. Let's see. Do we have LT BAM in the room?
No.
Okay, I'll quickly talk to this as well. I tried this out. It's a cool hack. So,
I keep time.
Yes, please time again, but I think this one we can keep quite short. Are you seeing my screen still?
Oh, good, yes.
Very good. So this project is all about QGIS, our favorite open source desktop geographic information system. And we're couple of weeks ago, in February, the latest release of this was made available, and with a really funny release name. So every time a major new version of this application gets put out into the world, some location, some town somewhere in the world gets assigned a name. I think it was Hanover before that, and it's now Zurich. So we're not completely sure of the reason why Zurich was picked. Maybe it's completely randomly. We're very proud to be able to download the latest release of QGIS and use it to in combination with swisstopo's new base layers. So this project is more of a tutorial. You'll find here instructions on using the new vector tiles. The vector tiles were available in the previous version already, but you can follow these steps to add and parameterize. So the idea is just that you would copy out these two links, paste them into the user interface, which looks like that. Here's in the screenshot. And once you click the add button, or hinzufügen, or ajouter, or whatever it is in your language, you should get a map of Switzerland, more or less looking like what you see on Geo.Hackmin in this very powerful desktop application. If you zoom in, things look about like this. We did notice that there were a number of quirks and issues in the rendering. For example, there's the bridges are very darkly shaded. The roads are invisible. This is due to some compatibility issues between the full style specification and the loader that is still quite new in the platform. But you can do things like adding the relief and hill shading maps, so you can then combine this with WMS and WMTS layers provided by SwissTopo. The tutorial continues on showing you how to do that. So here you have the raster data set, and yeah, it's a really cool. I mean, it's a tool that you can use as a GIS professional, but also as a lay user. It's one of the recommended tools in the open data wrangling community. So this project was basically about digging into these new releases. We also connected to some of the discussion around these the support for the vector styles. So there's link here to the GitHub issues if you'd like to follow the developments. We also talked about there's some people have been asking questions about the fonts. This Frutiger Neue condensed regular font, you'll get a warning that it is, if you don't have it on your computer, and you probably don't. So that's the official font that's being used with the Swiss Topo maps. It is not open content. It is a commercially available font, but you will find some link here to alternatives, so you can just swap this out with a similar looking font. If that's what you'd like to do. And yeah, and just maybe one more thing I should note is that our platform has this resources area, and if you have, I should have said that at the beginning, but if you've never heard of QGIS, there's also a page here on our site which describes not just where to find it, but also couple of other projects which are QGIS plugins, which have been focusing on Swiss maps or developed in Switzerland. So we just have started a quick list here. Cividi has recently deployed a plugin called the Spatial Data Package Export, together with colleagues from Finland, in Helsinki. There's a cool blog post about that if you want to check it out. And there's also the Swiss Locator by OpenGIS.ch and the Geo.Admin search by SoGeo. So really like a small but thriving ecosystem here of development, and yeah, really excited to see this tool become more and more of a great alternative to much more expensive commercial GIS platforms. If there are any questions, let us know.
Thanks, Oleg, for keeping the projects running. The next one, I believe we have the participant in the room, is a solar potential related topic. Hi, Sad.
Hello, everyone. Let me try to share my screen. I hope it works. You see the screen? Yeah, seems to work. So let me just quickly introduce me. So I have a background in physics, but I've spent the last 15 years in the wonderful world of finance. But I've always been an open source and Python enthusiast, and having it actually introduced in basically all the jobs I have had. And now actually I'm taking a break from this world. So I was looking for something to do, and I'm passionate about sustainability. So, and I'm looking forward to a world where we don't waste 50% or 60% of the energy that we produce. That led me to this particular topic. So what I was interested in is to basically have some kind of answers to all the questions that one might ask him or herself about the potential of solar energy in the world, but also in this country. So what triggered this idea? I stumbled upon a paper from the EPFL from last year, working on some quite sophisticated estimates of all the potential of solar. Should we cover all the rooftops in Switzerland that have sufficient exposure to the sun? So in the references of this paper, there was a reference to a couple of data sets from Geo.Hackmin, and I coincidentally saw that there was this hackathon with the opening up of the data. So I thought, well, let's try to do something for this week in this topic. So what was the goal for this week? First, to familiarize myself with the data. I have a very little experience with all this geographic stuff. Understand the models for estimation. Experiment with machine learning to detect the solar panels, and have a mock-up of what an exploration platform website could look like. So I used the data from SwissImage. This one was mainly used as an input for the machine learning models. The solar roof and facades data, which was basically a counterpart, a swisstopo counterpart to the work that has been done at the EPFL. So you have like those two efforts to estimate the solar potential in Switzerland. What did I come up with, or what this week hack actually turned on? So actually, we can have actually a map of all the cantons, highlighting where there is actually the most rooftop potential. And here you can see that Bern is the highest one, but you can ask yourself, well, why is Graubünden, which has so much superficie, not highlighted here? And of course, it's because the population and building density is much lower. So maybe if we were to assess the potential, we would want to consider all the areas that are not actually covered by buildings, but maybe some fields or some industrial areas where there might be a lot of wasted space, which of course might be more true for a country like Germany than Switzerland. And here we can see the two top level estimated figures according to the EPFL and swisstopo. So we are around 30 terawatt hours. And then we can zoom in on particular canton, and here we have the canton of Schwyz, where I live. So here you can draw the similar kind of conclusions. And just to highlight, the kind of data exploration that we could do. Here are all the solar panels that were detected by the algorithms that I found online based on TensorFlow, which can basically highlight the areas of satellite or aerial images that might be solar panels. So we can see here with all those small panels at maybe or small arrays at 2 square meters or 3 square meters, that it might not be very, very effective, or there might be too many false negatives here. But here we can also maybe zoom in on the particular cases and see actually, for example, what the neural network has detected in some cases. So here, if we toggle this, we can see the areas that the neural network has highlighted as being covered. So we can see that it's not completely exhaustive, but it may be actually a good start. And the last thing that I wanted also to do is to be able to connect, all this high level, mid level, and quite granular level of data to actual production data. So I managed to get some data set for this house here, which doesn't seem to have some solar panels here, but actually, if you can see here, the solar panels are on the facade, and actually those are not picked up by the neural network. If you can just click on the particular roof, we can see actually you can contrast the monthly production of a particular year. To the estimate, the monthly estimate estimated by swisstopo. So we can see actually that it's not very, very far off, even though, of course, the solar panels here are not exactly on the same angle and same exposition as the ones which would have been modeled on the actual roofs here. So
1 minute, Sad, just to wrap up.
Yeah. So this was just actually a first attempt to have some kind of exploration platform to be able to look at things at different levels. So what are the next steps? One, use some proper maps to have the visualizations, which would be much quicker and much more flexible, to be able to zoom in a much nicer way. To actually try the neural network algorithm on all the SwissImage data set. I only did that for the canton of Schwyz because of time. actually bring up the platform to make it really possible to explore things from different angles. One project also that I would like to do is to use the LiDAR data to be able to replicate the models used in the EPFL paper. Also to be able to have some kind of potential for areas outside of the buildings, the roofs, and the facades. And maybe one concrete application of that, maybe, if, for example, we look up a company, for example, the Coop or IKEA or something like that, that has multiple locations in Switzerland, we could automatically actually look at the potential of all the rooftop of all their buildings, see actually which ones are actually covered, and see if there's some potential here to have some lobbying and activities and things like that, and also to test, as I mentioned before, some new possibilities to maybe cover all the parking lots with solar panels, and actually get the answer to whether this would make a difference or not, whether this would move the needle or not. So that's what I wanted to cover. I don't know if you have any question. Otherwise, I will be available later as well.
Thank you very much. I don't yet see a question in the chat. So I suggest we move on to the next project, which is the swisstopo React. All right. I see cheering from the audience, but no one walking.
I don't think Wipfli is here. Wipfli, are you here? Alrighty, I can quickly talk through this. This is a super cool. It's just, sorry, it's been really super cool watching your presentations. Of course, we have not had any break. And I just want to say that if you need to take off for a minute or two, bathroom break, please do so. Just, we will be happy to come back and let you share your project in a minute. So you should be seeing swisstopo React on my screen. Is that coming up for you? Demo effect. Okay, looks like I need to relaunch. 1 second. Everybody get up and stretch. Go like this. Oh, it's Saturday afternoon. I've been working so hard. Come on.
Great
Shake
idea.
it off a bit, Do some yoga. And I'll be looking for my tab. So strange. Let me try sharing it a different way. How's about now? Are you seeing this now?
Yes, looks much better.
All right. So, zip. So, quickly talk about Project swisstopo React. This is, as it says, boilerplate code for a website showing the swisstopo light base map. It's a little bit like the QGIS project I talked about earlier. So the React framework is a JavaScript-based programming library developed originally at Facebook, which allows the rapid creation of websites and mobile apps and web apps and so on. Really popular out there to get development bootstrapped. And obviously, we're at a hackathon, time is limited. So people are thinking of ways of how to save themselves and possibly others time. So Whipfly here put together a README which has literally 3 steps: install, develop, and build. So this is a complete, open source that you can run in your terminal to get started with this project, to start a local server on your computer, to get working with it, and the last step, npm run build, to publish the result on an actual website. Let's see. So the demo here shows you that the Swiss topo base light map is running in all its glory, fonts and all, inside of this frame here, which is just actually a full screen website, which is zoomable. And these controls, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be geolocating. Yes, that looks like it's resetting the compass. So I can rotate them out using this control. And this is powered by the React framework in the background, well, or like in the foreground, allowing you to add additional functionalities and to build out the rest of your mobile app. So if you've never worked with React before, what I would suggest doing is maybe not jumping straight into, to save you time, basically, I would suggest using something called Code Sandbox. And I literally just had this idea, but we should follow up on this. But the Code Sandbox is one of those websites which gives you an online integrated development environment, and it's particularly handy if you don't want to, your machine is the wrong operating system or whatever. It's a government work laptop and you can't install anything. But here, for example, you can find what's known as a React template. So this kind of gives you all the basic setup needed to work with React, and it's quite trivial. Should be relatively, at least as soon as Whipfly publishes his module on npm, which is the JavaScript package manager. It should be really quick for us to add kind of swisstopo React here. It's not coming up yet, but once it does, we can just add it here. I see that the leaflet module came up by default. And so yeah, here you can then just work on all the JavaScript and HTML and CSS that you need without leaving your browser. So that's just a quick spontaneous tip from me for anybody who wants to try this project and does not want to do any setup. And we might make it this even easier. I personally am not very much a React person. I use other JavaScript frameworks. But this is really a very motivating example to try to lower the bar for people who want to get into map development. It's not quite as full-featured as some of the SDKs that we've been seeing presented earlier this week, which would feature everything from geo-coordinate transformation as a simple API call to augmented reality 3D visualizations and stuff. This is just kind of the first of these building blocks on the road to having a nice community-supported mapping tool. And of course, there is this, behind this are also platforms like MapLibre, and they have thriving development communities. So maybe it'll be a case of just having a boilerplate configuration for one of the existing library or prepackaged initiatives. But yeah, I like where this is going. And again, check out the project, give it a star on GitHub, and let's hack some React.
Thank you, Oleg. Any questions to this project? All right, I hope you will look at it in the future and try it out, as Oleg just walked us through. And let's go to the mountains, I would suggest, and let's see what happens if we get lost. Hi, Alexander.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, indeed. The journey for this project started actually last Monday as I got lost in the mountains in this virtual space. Fortunately, Viktoria was there to save me and bring me back to this also nice place to come or get to know the Geo community. And this is how I want to introduce Lost in the Mountains. Just start to yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, this is the situation I was facing. I was anywhere. Maybe on the top of the mountain, and I needed to find the way back. And I thought maybe this might be a real case scenario. So eventually, you're a skier, you go for a ski tour, or you're a hiker, and there's this one mountain you always wanted to climb, and then you just say, yeah, let's go, come on, we plan a tour, we summit the top, and suddenly as you arrive on the top, there's maybe some bad weather coming. So in winter, maybe some snow, there might be a thunderstorm, or it might also be the case that you just climbed to the top but didn't think about, how can I come back? And this is what my project was about, so to find the way back. And basically, if you go from a top, a straight line down, sometimes it works, sometimes there is quite a steep slope, so you don't want to go there. And I want to do like a path check for a given route. And this I can show you now in a short demonstration. So basically, we are now in at Matterhorn, close to Zermatt, and basically, if we are on the top and want to go back, we might say, okay, we can just go from here to here, so like the fastest way back as possible. And obviously, this is quite a rocky section, which is quite steep. And the app gives me now like a message, okay, you shouldn't go there. It's too steep, so avoid this straight line. And it will also mark the dangerous sections with a blue dot. And now I can go and just say, okay, maybe I can just alter my route. So instead of going straight, I can go here and go here whatsoever. And I can try it once more again. And I don't think it will work, but just to see that it's all about adjusting your route until it's okay. So it's still not safe. So I could readjust it again. So it was a complete failure. I can show you now a safe example for if you're not on the Matterhorn itself, so like a safe area that's around my place. So this is basically then marked the screen, so no steep sections were detected, and this would be safe. And this was all the idea of my project. And this also led to some questions. So maybe we also want not just to look at the steepness of slope where we want to walk in. We also want to avoid natural preserves or rocky terrain, some animal preserves probably. This is also something we can do now with the geodata. Just other outcomes or other outlooks will be just to I especially think about the last point here, the classification of a route. So you're planning a hike with your friends and you just don't know, okay, I haven't been hiking for quite a while. Can I really do this? And the route you put in on the map then just shows you some difficult sections and can also classify the route like as it's easy.
1 minute, Alexander. 1 minute.
Yeah, basically that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, I just look forward for some questions if there are any.
I don't see questions, just cheering. Thanks a lot for presenting your project. I will definitely would like to give it a try in real life on one of the mountains. And with that, now that we found our way back to safe areas, we also arrived to our last project, the Open Geominder. I believe this belongs to you, Oleg. So let me know when you're ready to start.
Yeah, ready.
All right.
Okay, well, let me just take this nice comfy chair here. So open data is an interesting topic, and one of the ways I think that we, well, actually, as David said right at the beginning, he's when we first talked about running this event, I was like, oh yeah, let's fill up all our hard drives, because that's what we do at hackathons, right? We usually, when we organize an open data event, we spend the weeks ahead of it preparing a data tank, which is actually like an actual portable physical NAS server, which we take to an event, which contains locally cached offline copies of all the data sets that people share for on the topic. And usually these are people who want to promote their data, and sometimes these are data sets which are not ready for the prime time. They're not yet open data, but people bring them to an event in the hope that someone takes a look, finds any issues, and just expresses any interest or lack thereof in actually seeing this data be published on the internet. So this time with a virtual event, it's kind of hard to have a data tank that everyone can plug into, and of course we don't really need a data tank because, well, swisstopo has put all these wonderful resources online. So I did start just downloading it, and very quickly filled up several tens of gigabytes on my laptop. Some of you in your previous presentations have shown better ways of downloading. So this discussion, so let me just try to share my screen again. The way that was working before is this one. Are you seeing my screen still? Should be fine, yeah. So the project that we pitched. So just get back to the home page. This project idea, it basically summarizes or includes several existing ideas that were posted to the community forum. In particular, maybe you've heard of the Gapminder project, or the Gapminder Foundation, sorry, is Hans Rosling and the United Nations Millennium Goals, and one of the most kind of well-known international efforts to promote data literacy, in particular at the surface of understanding the way the developing world, which is progressing in terms of poverty and hunger and world income distribution. So the inspiration here are these kind of really simple charts which explain how countries and populations and the world economic system are kind of moving along. And I think, you know, they've led the way in both showing how to collect the data as well as how to communicate with it. And this project, Open Numbers, is something they've been running, or maybe a community around the Gapminder Foundation has been running, I'm not sure exactly, to you know, expand and to actually scrape. You know, you have just lots of files here. These are linked data definitions, and the idea here is just to collect these statistics and offer easy way to retrieve them, maybe compare them historically, and just wrangle the data using formats and platforms that the community is used to. So we've yeah, thank you. So we had, like I said, a couple of these themes in the discussion about mirroring the data, and several projects in the Swiss community that would be really cool to activate, like the Hitchhiker's Guide to Swiss Open Government Data, which collects data sets from Open Data Swiss and compares their quality and historical value. So yeah, I mean, when you're trying to run a hackathon, it's kind of hard to find the time to work on a hack as well. But we started with this really basic thing. We thought, you know, the most easiest hack we could do is actually to put together a timeline. So there's a timeline with currently just one entry. swisstopo goes free. And we're going to expand on this with you can actually contribute to this right now. If you click on this green button, there's a form you can fill out and add any events which you think are relevant on the timeline of Swiss Open Geodata. Just give it a quick title, link, and you don't even need to give us your email address. But yeah, the point is to kind of to connect the dots. It's been over a decade in the making, right? So one thing that we'd like to do is to just put the main kind of big milestones, like the launch of Geo.Admin portal and so on. But maybe what would be quite a good next step is to actually scrape. I quickly started also to scrape these release notes here. This is out of the Sphinx-based documentation of Geo.Admin. The cool thing here is that, you know, every couple of months you have one of these releases coming out, and then you have these new data sets, right, being updated, or in some cases you have new ones. So here, for example, in the last release notes, you have a couple of new data sets and lots of updates. So maybe would be really cool to just help the community be more aware of this in a slightly less dry presentation. So for example, with like a screenshot of the data that is being released, and so on. So like, yeah, this is basically a challenge to the Open Geodata community to rally around what swisstopo and folks are doing, and think of it also in the wider sense of a national good that we can we should maybe put in a bit of effort to track and monitor and to ensure the sustainability of, because, you know, obviously this has great value, but we want to show each other and definitely to the government folks that we care. We care when there's new data, when there's efforts to improve data, and we also care when data gets deleted. And that we also want to have a hand in promoting things like data literacy, and maybe even connecting this to some international efforts, such as efforts to harmonize kind of or compare the quality of open data around the world, like Open Data Index, or projects to make this data more accessible to research or students. So please connect via the forum. Feel free to help us with the timeline based on Timeline.js, open source project. And there's a couple of other ideas in the hack pad attached to this. Okay, maybe it got lost here. There's a HackMD document with a bit of a work in progress on what concretely still could be done.
Thank you, Oleg, for the inspiring topic and presenting it so compactly. Does anyone have questions to the last presentation or to any of the projects? This is a now or never momentum to ask the questions.
Well, actually, I would suggest that we get off the stage, as we have now gone through the projects.
Good idea.
And go to the second part of our conclusion, the open apero, virtual apero. Should we actually all move back to the bar area? That would be nicer.
Sorry?
Should we just all move back to the bar area?
I would like to say a few more words, and afterwards I'm very happy to start walking, yes. So, let me share my screen one more time. Maybe. Getting there. So thanks for all for being with us now and also throughout the week. It has been really truly inspiring. That is proven mostly by the great projects and results and by the community of people we formed and connections, moments we shared. So what's next and how are we moving on from here? As a small thank you, you will be able to download the certificates on the platform, which we hope you will keep coming back to every now and then. We will communicate this in an email later, but just that you know, we came up with a little example of certificate of how to remember this event digitally, at least.
And there will be something on the certificates.
Exactly. So just keep checking it, and you will discover some little present there as a giveaway. What we have
from swisstopo, not from us.
Exactly. And maybe David would like to say a few words on that now or later. Feel free to jump in.
Go on, I jump in later.
Okay, jump in later. So what we have tried to build here is a community, I think, that very much came together. And what we have in mind is to actually continue building this community around open data, around mapping, and around the topic that's particularly close to cividi in the urban space, so urban tech events. And we would like you to join us, invite you to that journey. We started our blog on urban tech topics, where the first entry is about this hackathon. And our goal is to map the urban tech space, the mapping space, the open data space of Switzerland, where we would like you to come as a presenter, as a participant, as a co-organizer. It's a very open format that we have been defining. We will also tell you more about this later, and we'll also accept questions on this. It would be very great to start a movement together, resulting out of this event and continuation of it. With that, we have been also experimenting with ways to support, even on financial terms, to the event. So this is something that we will be also keeping experimenting in the future. We also discussed it a bit yesterday, of enhancing and leveraging open solutions and collaborative solutions such as Open Collective. So we are giving a try to their platform. If you would like to contribute to this event, you can do so on the below link. And we also set up a page for cividi. So we will hopefully set up new projects in the future on this great other community of great projects on Open Collective. So come back and check it out later. Another topic, as always, is feedback. As you see now, I'm lost alone in the mountains. Sometimes I'm not that alone with our team, but without you, I think this event wouldn't have been possible, and without your feedback, future events will be less great. So it would be really great if you could take a look at our survey, which you will always also find in your inbox later. And just share any feedback on the event format, on the event platform here in Gather, or on the hackathon platform on TripDat, or anything that comes to your mind. We would be very happy to welcome those ideas. And last but not least, again, a big thank you to all of you who are here today, who have been with us during the week, especially to David and Rafa from the swisstopo team, and also other members that have been joining, to all our speakers, Catherine, Peter, Ilya, Matthias, Martin. A big thank you to Lauren, who most of you have not met, but actually he is the one behind the space in Gather. So he has been working a lot with Oleg and myself to make this room setup playful, and also to make you get lost in the woods. No, I'm kidding. So he was the dreamer behind the space and the maker behind the space. We are very happy also to be part of the international movement and to really have shared this Saturday with you and the community built around open data initiated by the Open Knowledge Foundation. Yeah, and again, thanks a lot for the great contributions, project ideas. We do hope that you keep working on them, and that you keep sharing them with others, and we build and we see those little ideas and products in the future, maybe on the market. On our side, I'm really grateful for Oleg for initiating this event in our team and for keeping up throughout the whole week through not so easy times. For all the cividi team who is here or not here today, that this event was possible. As I said, I'm personally really thinking of it as a personal growth and engagement potential. So I'm really happy that I also could have been here with all of you. And how to continue and where to meet next is something that's always a question. So Oleg, would you like to jump in here and explain it?
Yeah. Could you just refresh your slide deck?
Oh, yes.
And just quickly go to the next slide after the one you were just showing.
Yeah.
Because I realized that this is not the first time we did something like this. I don't know if you guys still remember 2013. Some of you who are old school here. In 2013, there was a project called the Urban Data Challenge, which was run by, I think, the team around the LIFT conference in Geneva. And they had a multi-month competition involving data sets from 3 cities, global cities, San Francisco, Geneva, and Zurich. And the idea was to take mobility data sets and see what kind of things people come up with. So the results of that Urban Data Challenge were shown at OKCon. So there was a room inside of the Open Knowledge Conference, which was in Geneva that year, which was the first and until now only major global event that we've hosted in Switzerland on behalf of Open Knowledge Foundation. And it was really exciting to see people take what at the time was pretty revolutionary and very kind of new material in terms of us even being able to deal with that kind of data. Several really cool startups emerged out of this, and so here we are 8 years later, being more aware, more capable, and hopefully more connected to each other through projects like this. So what's next? We have, so as Viktoria said, we are hoping to create some kind of event series on top of this. I think you're gonna need to refresh your slide one more time because GeoBeer is missing. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a GeoBeer in April. But basically this next week there's going to be a workshop. So these are events from Open Data CH / Save the Dates 2021. This is a community calendar provided by the team over at Open Data CH. So the workshop at the Berner Fachhochschule is going to be a little bit of a preparation for this workshop on the 15th of March, why climate data matters. I'll just leave it at that. Be there or be square. And 1 month later, in the middle of April, the Open Glam Hack Days are taking place. So that's the next hackathon organized with the Open Data CH community. The Open Glam Hack Days, if you don't know it, they're the Open Cultural Data Hack Days. So this is a hackathon that connects the Switzerland's cultural institutions, museums, galleries, libraries, archives. The museums in particular have been really, really sore until last Monday. This was a big week for them because they were finally allowed to open their doors after several months of quarantine. So we're happy to try to support the Swiss cultural sector with these hack days. It's also one of my favorite event series. I'll definitely be there in April. And yeah, so last but not least, does anyone know exactly what the date is of the next GeoBeer? Has it been announced yet? Just shout if you know. I'm looking it up, but I'm not seeing anything yet.
18th of April.
Oh, sooner than expected. 18th of March, not April.
Sorry, March. Yeah, March. Yeah, 18th of March. Yeah,
all right.
Thursday, sorry.
So before you do some culture data hacking, go have beer with the GeoBeer guys and girls and everything else in between. And we have around the GeoBeer meetups, there's been a fantastic community promoting and discussing geodata. And if anyone from the team is here, I don't know, they've been in and out this week. They've all had a very busy time, but very happy to see these events happening and support them any way we can. Anybody else have event tips or suggestions to share? Any dates we should add to our little agenda here? Anyone know when the next major Swiss federal institution will open up all their data?
Great question.
Keep us posted. All right, I'm done in that case.
All right, then I would suggest to find some more comfortable seats and allocations for our virtual apéro. Feel free to stay or to drop off if you need to. We will be around for some while, and you can anytime reach us. You know where, on pretty much every platform. But yeah, via email. You can email me directly at victoria@cividi.ch or events@cividi.ch, and you can also find me Twitter, LinkedIn, all those platforms. Thanks a lot again, and enjoy the evening.
Whew.
Okay.
So the bar is to the left, but well, we can stay here. Up to you. No, everybody, let's follow Viktoria.
Not sure we have enough seats. So let me get some more.